how we start the year is normally how we finish the year. And if you start the year in uncertainty, in fear, if wondering if the outside world is going to get better or shift, that might be the way you end the year. Think about how we started 2021. Didn't we end kind of 2021 the way it was started? And here's what I know. It's a crazy show out there. The outside world is kind of out of control. Can we admit this is the weirdest time in history? At least I'm 53. This is the weirdest time I've ever seen. Uncertainty's high. We have separation, people trying to push us apart. We have diversity. We have the great resignation. 80% of people are thinking of quitting their job or not knowing sure what to do, what's next. We got polarization. All of these things go on. We have a new variant that could shut down our worlds again, just like that. And depending where you live in the world or in the country, things are being shut down again. What happens to your psyche, can we just, listen, this is gonna be really casual today. This is not like a 3-hour PowerPoint. These are all my notes. I obsess over my notes, guys. This is all my notes and everything I wanna cover today, but do I have permission for us to just be like a bunch of friends hanging out, setting New Year's resolutions? Because that's the way I wanna have this today. I'm not gonna overthink it, but let me just share with you. It's okay if you feel a little off. It's okay if you're hoping 2022 is better, but you're kind of unsure if it will be. Because listen, when you have the carpet kind of pulled out from underneath you multiple times, it really dings your confidence, right? It's like COVID came, what is this thing? And then we went into lockdowns and all this stuff, and then it started getting better. And then shifts in the world, shifts in beliefs. I mean, we have the media telling you if you're vaccinated, you're amazing, and if you're not vaccinated, you're horrible, and other people saying the complete opposite, and to vax, to not to vax, to mask, to not mask, to shut down, to not shut down. I don't care where your political world lands, but all that does is create this separation and divide us, when what's gonna solve this is us coming together. What's gonna solve the outside craziness is for us to master the inner game. The outside world is not going to gain control, and then we feel certain. The certainty starts within. Can we all agree the certainty starts inside here? The confidence starts in here. Have any of you ever watched the news, or do you think you will ever watch the news ever in your life and get done and go, I feel so much better. Things are on track. God, I can't wait to have my husband watch the news because I saw it, I feel great. No, you watch the news, you're like, we all hate each other, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and things will never be better. Because that's ratings, right? Did you ever see that thing with Time Magazine? That 50 years ago, Time Magazine, the cover was 85% positive, right? Things are going good. And they realized over time, the more negative the covers got, the more the magazines sold. And you fast forward 50 years, and now covers of magazines are more 90% negative because people pick them up more. That's headlines, that's Facebook stories, that's news stories. They'd rather tell you, what does it say? If it bleeds, it leads, right? So we can fall into that, and we can let the outside world control us. Or we can decide right here, today, right now, that 2022 is the year we become more bold than ever before, that we become more courageous than ever before. You know, these might just sound like words, but this is our reality. What's courage? Courage is moving forward even though you're a little scared. Courage is moving forward and you feel like an imposter. Courage is moving forward and you do have an uneasiness, or you do have self-doubt. That's what courage is. Confidence doesn't come until you're courageous. People are looking for this whiff of confidence to hit them and go, I'm bold, I can do it. Confidence comes after you take the action, after you fall a little, get back up. Courage evolves into confidence. And that's what I want to share today. This is, listen, I'm not going to take too long. I know about a third of you are new to our world today, so I'm not going to bore you with my whole story, but I just want to share a little bit of why this is so important to me today, why this is important for me to share this, why I've been doing this for a decade in January to help my following, and so hopefully I invite those that are new. I hope that you become part of our company, become part of what we share, what we do, follow me on social, anything we can do to give you that little unfair advantage in this crazy world. If you know me, it's like my goal for the end of today is to realize that you can be the thermostat of your life, not the thermometer. I know if you're part of my family, you know I say that a lot, you've heard it before, but think about that. There are so many people in your life that you know that are a thermometer. If the news is good, they're in a good mood. If the relationship is good, they're in a good mood. If they ate good that week, they're in a good mood. The relationship is shitty, they're in a bad mood. The news was bad, they're in a bad mood. It's doom and gloom, they're doom and gloom. What are they really doing? They're just roller coastering. Whatever the outside temperature is that's how they feel. And how can that give you sustainable happiness? It's not, we have to be the thermostat. We adjust the temperature. We decide our emotions. We decide what we think about. We decide what we focus on. And when you find that level of mastery, which is only a millimeter away from where most of us are, that's when life changes forever. And the outside world doesn't matter to you. You get to be the person that controls your destiny. I know that sounds kind of like controls your destiny, but isn't that what we want? At the end of our lives, if you had a question and said someone else was in control of your emotions, your future, and your income, or congratulations, you were in control of your emotions, your future, your happiness, and your income, which one do you want? We want the second, right? So that's what we're doing here today. And I want to share how this happened to me. So we all have our stories. This isn't poor me. But as a kid, my parents were married 20 times. I moved 20 times by the time I was 19 years old. We didn't have money. I lived in a trailer park with my mom for a while. I lived in a bathroom with my dad for almost a year when there was no heat in the house. We just had a little electric heater that we could plug in and heat our little bathroom. I didn't know anything different. My dad was awesome. We figured all this stuff out, right? But all I knew is when I was really young, I watched my mom struggle. My mom's one of the sweetest women, the sweetest humans I've ever met in my life. Both my parents are hard workers. My dad's a diligent hard worker. My mom was a hard worker. But I remember being like 12 years old and saying, they're working their tails off, but they don't have anything. They're working their tails off and they keep going through relationships like crazy. They're working their tails off. I never get to see them because they're always working. And I just remember that old saying of like, hard work equals success. It's like, I don't think so, because they work pretty hard. My mom worked 3 jobs to make nothing. My dad worked in a collision shop every day. And I remember just thinking, if I follow and do what they do, I'm going to get what they get. And okay, we said we'd be like family and share. One of my biggest reasons that I ran away from being a broke kid and not want to be, I didn't want to be my parents. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I love them more than life, but I didn't want their life. I didn't want their unhappiness. I didn't want some of the depression they had, some of the anger that my dad had. I didn't want that we were always running and money was everything and that's all they talked about because they didn't have enough of it. I just remember saying, I don't want that. So here's where I had a kind of an epiphany in my life. I'm in probably my mid-teens, 15 to 18, 20 years old, and I started being friends with some of the most successful people in my town that were way older than me. Dominic Affuso, Joey Noto, and Mark Miller. Mark Miller was probably 78 or 80 when I was 20. And he was a famous artist way back in the 50s, and he retired in this little town. He had this great little winery, and I just met him randomly, and I ended up buying some property of him. He gave me property with no money down. And I remember just becoming friends with them. This is where my journey, and I want to share this with you because it's really important for you today, where the journey of understanding that habits and success principles aren't these big grandiose things. They're these tiny little millimeter shifts that most people don't recognize. The little things aren't the big things. The little things are everything. And that's what I plan on covering today. But this is the first time that I can remember listening to them, and everything they said was the complete, and when I say everything they said, it wasn't like an official mentor. I'd meet them for coffee. I'd drive up to their house. I'd bring Mark Miller a bottle of wine. I probably brought him the shittiest wine. He probably knew really expensive wine, and I probably bought him some like white Zinfandel in a box or something. I don't know. But all I know is they gave me the time of day. They felt great mentoring me. They felt great like sharing. And here's what I know. Everything they said, anybody have this experience, and maybe you do with me and you can't tell other people, they were sharing stuff with me that was so different, and I was living with my dad at the time, so different than how my dad looked through the lens of life, that if I would have told my dad, he would have been like, oh, don't listen to those old, like, but here's what I know. They were the most successful people in my town, and they were really happy. And they just had these little fundamental shifts that were complete opposite of what my mom and dad were doing. And I remember as I started implementing these things, they felt odd, they felt different, but they started to work. and I started to get momentum. And by the time I was 20 years old, I had my own company and my dad was working for me. By the time I was 23, I had 27 apartments, I was building houses, I had a collision shop, I had a tow truck company, and then all of a sudden my life changed forever. That momentum led me, I never read books, I wasn't smart enough to do that, but something shifted in my mid-20s, I bought Tony Robbins' course. And all of a sudden, with that momentum that I got from these older gentlemen, by shifting my habits, my success principles, my disciplines, I became the complete polar opposite of my parents by the time I was 23, and I had more success by 24 than my parents had had their entire life combined. And then I got Tony Robbins' course, and that just changed everything. I realized learning from others who've already been there, who obsessively study, is the fastest way to your end result. And after Tony Robbins, I devoured, and I've been listening and reading books and being a part of it, and I'm blessed to be a multiple New York Times best-selling author, and to go from that to starting over 15 companies, to been blessed to do hundreds of millions of dollars in my life, and all these cool things, and be married to the love of my life, and be a parent. All of this happened, and I love the self-education industry. If you know anything about me, if you're part of our self-education industry family, I love all that. I don't care what business you're in. You want to fix your relationship, find more intimacy, find you again, get your health back in shape, put your health as a priority, work on your mental health, work on your emotional intelligence, finally start that business, scale the business, not care what anybody else thinks about your dreams and goals. I'm not sure why you're here, but today you're here in the perfect place at the perfect time. So you're here today if you're ready to go all in. Who's ready to be more bold, to gain capabilities, to do this and stop talking about it, right? That's what I'm talking about, and that's why we're all here. So no matter where you are in life, I get it. And listen, if you ever felt like an imposter, if you ever felt like people would call you crazy for going after your dreams, then you're probably the only one here that feels that way, because none of us ever felt that way. Of course we all have. We all feel like imposters. We all have self-doubt. We all wonder if we could do more, be more, lose the weight, find the love, or make the passion come back in your relationship, or start the business, or scale the business. We all doubt ourselves. Everyone does. But who moves forward are the ones that find the mindset to move forward uncomfortably, to take uncomfortable action, to be the person that judges yourself on who you were yesterday and last year. As long as you're a better version tomorrow than yesterday, you're moving forward, right? So if you're here and you've ever had those doubts, if you've ever failed, if you've procrastinated, if you've been lazy, if you've set goals that didn't work, can I just say it like it is? Who gives a shit? That was last year. That was the old you. Excuse my language, but let's leave that person in the past. Leave yesterday behind us. We could start fresh. I'm not trying to give you hyperbole or fake motivation and just leave you inspired. Today, we're going to learn tactical pieces that can show you how to tap into the man or the woman God designed you to be. And that's all we can ask for. Listen, I think the biggest plight, Dale Carnegie said this, and it stuck with me forever. The biggest plight of the human race is just knowing you have more potential and not utilizing it. So all we got to do is just use up our own potential. We don't need anybody else's. We don't need to be smarter, younger, older, wiser. We just got to maximize who we are. And I've been a study of this for 27 years. When Tony Robbins changed my life, I went into this industry. I went into the self-education industry. I started writing books. You think I didn't feel like a complete pathetic loser? I wrote my first book a decade and a half ago. I had dyslexia. I had never read many books in my life. There was so many reasons I shouldn't write a book. But when you change this, nobody gets in your head. No one gets in your way. My dear friend Trent Shelton said to me once, or said we were right here training. He's a great dude. And he said, someone said, I'd love to go after my dreams, but my family looks at me like I'm crazy. And Trent was right here sitting next to me, and he looked in the camera and said, how can you expect others to get your dreams and goals when God gave that to you? Man, he probably even said it better than I said it. But basically what he said is, you're looking for other people to approve of your dreams, approve of your goals, approve of who you're supposed to be. God didn't give it to them. God gave it to you. That's why you're here. They're doing something else. They might be binging out on Netflix right now. That could be more fun. Maybe you want to watch Sex and the City reruns or the Friends reruns. I don't know. But you're here because you want a bigger future. What's up? What's up? Hey, don't forget to look at the action steps we've posted below. They are the perfect way to take your success, abundance in this crazy world to a whole nother level.